If dragons are supposed to fly, then Chinese dragons make no sense. They have no wings, no giant feathered span, no bat-like structure lifting them through the air. And yet somehow, they are the dragons that rule the sky. So how does that work? How can a wingless dragon soar above clouds, command storms, and dominate heaven itself, while Western dragons need massive wings just to get off the ground? The answer is simple. Because Chinese dragons were never designed to think like animals. They were designed to think like power. In Western fantasy, a dragon usually feels like an apex beast, a terrifying creature, a monster with claws, muscle, and wings. Its flight has to make physical sense. It needs a body built for hunting, attacking, and surviving. That is why Western dragons are often imagined like giant reptiles or flying predators. Their wings matter because their power is tied to biology. If a Western dragon rules the sky, it rules the sky the way a monster does, through force, size, and physical dominance. But Chinese dragons come from a completely different imagination. They were not built to be believable animals. They were built to be cosmic beings. In Chinese mythology, the dragon is not just a creature that moves through nature. It is a creature that participates in nature. It is tied to rain, rivers, clouds, storms, and seasonal change. It does not simply fly through the sky. It belongs to the same system. That changes everything. A Western dragon flies because it has wings. A Chinese dragon flies because the heavens allow it to. That sounds poetic, but it is also the real symbolic difference. Chinese dragons are not trying to overpower the sky. They are expressions of the sky's order. That is why they do not need wings, because their movement is not mechanical. It is spiritual. They rise through mist the way rain rises into cloud. They coil through heaven the way storms move across the world. They do not flap their way upward, they flow upward. And that is exactly why Chinese dragons often look the way they do. Long body, serpentine shape, deer-like horns, claws, whiskers, a body made from many symbolic parts. They were never meant to look like one realistic species. They were meant to look like a fusion of forces. In other words, a Chinese dragon is not less physical because it has no wings. It is more than physical. Its authority does not come from anatomy. It comes from meaning. And that meaning is deeply connected to traditional Chinese civilization. In many Chinese traditions, heaven is not just empty space. It is order, legitimacy, balance, the structure above the human world. And dragons were linked to that structure. That is why emperors used dragon imagery. That is why dragons were associated with rain. That is why they were seen as noble, sacred, and necessary. A Chinese dragon is not a beast invading heaven. It is one of the signs that heaven is still functioning. That is why asking, how does it fly without wings, is the wrong question. Because that question assumes the dragon is supposed to obey ordinary creature logic. But Chinese dragons were never ordinary creatures. They were sacred power given form. And once you understand that, the deeper east-west difference becomes clear. Western dragons are usually framed as enemies of civilization. They burn villages, guard treasure, terrorize kingdoms, challenge heroes. They represent chaos, greed, destruction, or evil power. So their wings serve a dramatic function. They make them feel more threatening, more animal, more invasive. A Western dragon crashes into the world like a nightmare. But Chinese dragons are not outsiders. They are woven into the world itself. They do not arrive to corrupt nature. They help explain it. They are not symbols of chaos attacking order. They are symbols of power inside order. That is why one dragon needs wings, and the other never did. Because the Western dragon is a monster. The Chinese dragon is a principle. The Western dragon must conquer the air physically. The Chinese dragon already belongs to the sky spiritually. And maybe that is the real reason Chinese dragons still feel so powerful. They do not need wings because they do not need permission from biology. They move as if the universe already recognizes them. That is much stranger than a flying reptile, and in some ways, much more intimidating. Because a dragon with wings is still just a creature built to fly. But a dragon without wings, a dragon that rules the sky simply because it is part of heaven's design, feels less like an animal and more like a law of reality. So why did Chinese dragons have no wings but still rule the sky? because they were never imagined as beasts struggling against gravity. They were imagined as sacred forces, moving with clouds, storms, water, and heaven itself. Western dragons fly because their bodies make it possible. Chinese dragons fly because the cosmos makes it natural. And that difference reveals something far bigger than dragon design. It reveals two very different ideas of what power is supposed to look like. In one world, power is monstrous, physical, and must be feared. In the other, power is sacred, fluid, and part of order. That is why Chinese dragons never needed wings. They were never trying to become masters of the sky. They were born as part of it.